Greetings, beloved. I hope you're doing well. I have a word of encouragement today. This is a unique message for somebody. You have been bothered by familiar spirits, monitoring spirits. This may be manifesting in different ways. You may see it as gang stalking. You may see it as unusual persons, people coming into your social media, unusual people that will even give you a discomfort. And when you're an anointed child of God, there's a knowing in you. Even when you look at, what is happening with your social media accounts, you may even have a familiar spirit or a monitoring spirit that just comes into the atmosphere. You may not be able to explain it. You may not be able to see anything physical, but it may manifest as something that you just feel. You feel the atmosphere change. You could even be sensing it in the spirit through dreams, through visions that God may even give you, through engagements, interactions with people on a normal day-to-day in the workplace, in your community, in your environment. There is something that is going to tell you when there is monitoring happening, when there is a monitoring spirit that is at work. But what I hear God say, it's more of a prophetic warning. The responsibility of a monitoring spirit is to make sure that they are aware of every single thing that you're doing, projects that you're working on, your God-given mandate, your ministry, your calling, anything and everything that God has set on your path. Their job is to monitor that in order, in order to try and block the breakthrough, in order to try and stay a step ahead of you so that they can see what is happening. Some of the people that are stubborn pursuers may even go as far as consulting spiritists to try and monitor your future, to try and monitor what is it that God has in store for you in order to sabotage, in order to block what God is doing in your life. What I see, or what I saw when God showed me, there's a child of God, you'll know if this message is for you, where there has been monitoring happening. You've been sensing it. Everything has been telling you that there's definitely monitoring going on. The insight that God showed me is that because of the readings, spiritists, consulting that they have been doing in your life to try and see into your destiny, some of them have even gone as far as going back into your past. And the main reason for that is to see whether there's iniquity. Remember, iniquity gives the enemy legal access. It gives the enemy legal right to block, to sabotage, to try and, project negative prophecies, to try and project evil against what God is doing in your life. So what I saw is that the monitoring has been happening. However, they found nothing to give them legal access in order to block what God is doing in your life. You remember the story of Samson and Delilah. Delilah was very intent on trying to see what is the strength, or what is giving Samson strength, or what is behind his strength. So when these people looked into your destiny, into your past, even into your future, they found that there's no legal access that they can hang on to in order to block you, to afflict you. And they have noted where your strength lies. And your strength, child of God, lies in the fact that you walk a walk of uprightness. Your walk of faith is a walk of uprightness. Yes, we will never be perfect. Yes, we may never apprehend. But your pursuing of righteousness, they have noticed that this is where your super strength, your super ability lies. And that is what is blocking them from gaining legal access. Some of you have gone to the lengths of cleansing your bloodline. And remember, once you cleanse your bloodline, the enemy has got nothing to hold on to. The enemy has got no iniquity to hang on to. And then you add the fact that you are now walking in uprightness. You could have been going into consecration even for your family. You could be going into consecration to cleanse generational iniquities. And because of what you're doing, you are weakening the access the monitoring spirits have upon your life. But this is the prophetic warning, beloved. Now that they know, they see where your strength lies, and they do not have legal access to try and afflict you, the warning that God has said to give to this child of God encountering this is they will go after your spiritual disciplines. Remember Delilah, after finding out where the strength of Samson lies, they went after his hair. They shaved his hair because that's where his strength lies. So the orchestration of the enemy is to try and weaken you where your strength lies, where God has blocked everything else, where there's no generational iniquity, where there's no legal access. The only thing that can try and even provide an upper hand for the enemy is weakening your spiritual disciplines. What does that look like? Maybe your spiritual discipline is dedicating a day of fasting. Maybe once in a week, you go through a 24-hour fast. Maybe you are the sort of person that has dedicated midnight hour for spiritual warfare. And now what the enemy will try to do is to cause this wicked and evil sleep, overwhelming slumber to come upon you, because they've noted that is where your strength lies. The enemy may try to afflict you with the study of the word. Maybe God has said, dedicate time to study the word. Dedicate time to study scriptures on a particular topic. God may have even given you a particular book of the Bible to study from the first chapter right up until the last, because there's something that he wants to communicate and wants to drop into your spirit. So you may find that your word study is being impacted. Your word study is being affected. You may even open the Bible and suddenly there is this very strange and wicked spirit of slumber that may come upon you. So what God is saying, beloved, be alert, because the orchestration of the enemy right now is to try and go for your spiritual disciplines, noting where your strength lies. And my prayer for you, beloved, is may you find courage, may you find strength to forge ahead. Whatever it is that God has called you to do, whatever it is in terms of your spiritual discipline that God has called you to do, receive the strength, receive the grace to continue to pursue your spiritual disciplines so that your strength may not be lost. May God give you the grace to retain your strength in this time and in this season, because you are more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus. God bless you. Till the next message.